Objective Geology, multiple choice questions with answers. This is UPSC Combined Geoscientist 2020 solved question paper, and I hope this solved question paper is useful for various competitive exams like CSR, NET-GATE, GSI and other exams. Welcome to set 4. Coming to the first question. Textural maturity of sandstone is determined by A. The relative abundance of stable and unstable framework grains. B. The ratio of matrix and well-defined grain under hydrostatic condition. C. The relative abundance of matrix and the degree of rounding and sorting of framework grains. D. The proportion of coarse grain sediment to fine grain sediment when matrix is absent. So, textural maturity of sandstone is determined by the relative abundance of matrix and the degree of rounding and sorting of framework grain. So textural maturity is nothing but the sorting and roundness of sides grains, and this compositional maturity is nothing but it's a distinction which is made for conglomerates and sandstone basing on the relationship among the larger class. So the maturity of sandstone is determined by the degree of sorting and roundness of the grains. C is the correct answer. Next question. Vertical profile model of a cyclic sequence in evaporite bearing sediments reflecting a sensitive response of evaporite environments. How do they respond? So A. Climate change, brine level or water chemistry. B. Change in the lateral dispersal of sediment as sea level changes. C. Vertical profile in evaporites cyclic sequence does not reflect. And D. Change in the sediment supply as a response of faunal and floral intervention. So the vertical profile model of a cyclic sequence in evaporite bearing sediments reflecting a sensitive response of evaporite environments is determined by the climate change and the brine level. Brine level means the sodium chloride levels or water chemistry. So A is the correct option. Next question. The non-clastic sediment composed of microcrystalline quartz found in both bed and nodules of limestone and sandstones is known as A. Chert, B. Silky sandstone, and C. Brexia, and D. Evaporites. The answer is Chert. Next question. Which one of the following zone of carbonate diagenetic depth it occurs below the calcite compensation depth? It is known as a CCD. A. Zone of precipitation. B. Zone of partial dissolution. C. Zone of no carbonate. And D. Zone of active dissolution. So according to this, what is the zone of the carbonate diagenetic depth which occurs below the CCD, means below the calcite compensation depth, is the zone of no carbonate. The calcite compensation depth, it is also known as a CCD. It is the depth in the oceans where the rate of the calcium carbonate materials forming and sinking is equal with the rate of materials is dissolving. So below the CCD, there is no calcium carbonate preserved. So generally there is no calcium carbonate deposits beneath or about 15,100 feet. So the correct answer is zone of no carbonate. Next question. Which one of the following may be caused by carbonic acid rich waters which are produced by devolatilization of coal beds? So which is caused by the carbonic acid rich waters which is produced by devolatilization of the coal beds? A. Kyelinization. B. Montmorillonite, C. Rhodaceous rock formation, and D. Salt rock formation. So the correct option is kyelinization. So what is kyelinization? Kyelinization, it refers to alteration of alkali feldspar into the clay mineral and kyelinite in the presence of slightly acidic solutions. So rainwater, it readily it's capable of dissolving carbon dioxide, CO2 from the atmosphere, promoting weathering of granitic or other rocks. So kyelinization is caused by carbonic acid rich waters which is produced by devolatilization of coal beds. A is the correct option. Next question. Reef and carbonate slope buildups have steeply dipping sediment water interfaces much steeper than the angle of repose of loose talus, which is due to A. Deposits at equatorial regions only and grows towards overhead sun, and B. Characteristic feature that grows vertical or overhanging, and C. Organic binding and early cementation, and D. vertical growth from seabeds. So reef that is and carbonate slope buildups, they have steeply dipping sediment water and which are steeper than the angle of the repose of loose material known as a talus is due to organic binding and early cementation. C is the correct option. Next question. The most favorable conditions for fossilization are present in, so very simple and straightforward question. A. Terrestrial, B. Fluvial, C. Sea and D. Lacustrine. So generally marine conditions are more favorable for the preservation of fossilization. So C is the correct answer. So fossils are more likely to be preserved in marine environments, for example where rapid burial by sediments is possible. Less favorable environments include rocky mountain tops where carcasses they decay quickly or few sediments are being deposited to bury them. So the most favorable condition is the marine environment. C is the correct option. Next question. Fossils range from ancient time up to the present day without any change in their primitive characters are known as A. Living fossils, B. Derived fossils, C. Facies fossils, D. Remain fossils. So fossils which range from ancient time, so that is very old, up to the present day without any change in their primitive characters is known as a living fossils. Fossils, the term living fossil is mainly used for describing the similarities and differences. So these are between the living organisms and fossils of extinct specimens which are no longer. So which virtually had unchanged structure and function. So the term living fossil, it was developed by an English naturalist known as Charles Darwin. So the correct option is A. Living fossils. Next question. A specimen of species from the same locality as its holotypes or syntypes is a, so what's a specimen of a species from, it is from the same locality or as its holotypes or syntypes is known as A. Pleistotype, B. Metatype, C. Paratype and D. Topotype. So the answer is topotype. What is a topotype? Topotype is nothing but a specimen of a plant collected from the same locality as the holotype and usually on a different date. So a topotype, it has no formal standing. So cotype means a term it's formerly used for the syntype and sometimes it is used for isotope and paratype. So a specimen of species from the same locality as its holotypes or syntypes is known as a topotype. D is the correct option. Next question. Two populations differing in one or more morphologic characteristics to a statistically significant degree are called A. Morphonomical species, B. Morphospecies, C. Founder species and D. Allopatric species. So the correct answer is morphospecies. So morphospecies is a species designated and clearly separated from other species based on recognized unequivocal morphological features. So B. Morphospecies is the correct option. Next question. Which one of the following is the median part of the cephalon that inflated in trilobites? So what is the medial part of the cephalon in trilobites? A. Glabella, B. Cheeks, C. Axial furrows, D. Pleura. So obviously A. Glabella is the central or median part of the cephalon, that which has the trilobites part has been divided into, the body of the trilobites is divided into head, thorax and pygidium, and this glabella is the median part of the cephalon. A is the correct option. Next question. In gastropods, the cavity opens at the base of a shell is called, choices are A. Umbilicus, B. Columella, C. Oral and D. Apex. So in gastropods, the cavity opens at the base of the shell and it is known as umbilicus. Umbilicus is nothing but a central cavity at the base or at the bottom of the shell. At our oral, oral is known as a turn or a coil of a snail shell and the body oral is the last and the largest. So the cavity opens at the base of the shell is known as umbilicus. Next question. A straight conical shell of an ammonoid cephalopod is known as A. Camere, B. Cyrtocone, C. Bactriticone, D. Rostrum. So the correct answer is Bactriticone. A straight ammonoid with simple sutures corresponding to orthocyracone among the nautiloids. So this is known as a Bactriticone. C is the correct option. Next question. The earliest fossil remains of horse in equine evolution is A. Epihippus, B. Mesohippus, C. Eohippus and D. Myohippus. So the earliest fossil remains of horse in equine evolution is known as Eohippus. So Eohippus, it lived during the early Pliocene epoch, and the scientific name of this horse is Equus cabellus. C. Eohippus is the correct answer. Next question. The modern horses belong to which one of the following genus? A. Epihippus, B. Equus, C. Myohippus, D. Orohippus. So the modern horses belongs to Equus. Approximately 1 million years ago, evolution had resulted in Equus, that is known as a modern horse. It had one toe, and the two side toes had developed into two side bones on each leg that we know today as a splints. And it would have been similar in size to a full size horse of today and was a grazing animal living on grasses in open areas. So the modern horses belong to Equus. B is the correct option. Next question. The first formed chamber in multilocular form of foraminifera is known as A. Protigulum, B. Proloculum, C. Protoconch, D. Prodiscoconch. So the first formed chamber in multilocular form of foraminifera is known as proloculum. Proloculus is the first formed chamber of the test, and it is small when the foraminifera has formed by sexual reproduction, but large when the reproduction has been asexual. So the first formed chamber in multilocular form of foraminifera is known as a proloculum. Next question. In which one of the following, that is rhizome or root, on which the Glossopteris and Gangamapteris grew? A. Tilophyllum, B. Vertebraria, C. Calamites, and D. Lepidodendron. The answer is Vertebraria. So Vertebraria is a genus of the fossil plants based upon the root-like remains of a Triassic age that resemble a vertebral column. B. Vertebraria is the correct answer. Next question. In conformable contacts, if the change from one lithology to another is less marked and abrupt contacts reflecting gradual change in depositional condition with time, it is known as A. Gradational, B. Lateral adjustment, C. Lithostratigraphy, D. Angular unconformity. So in conformable contacts, if the change from one lithology to another is less marked than abrupt contacts, which reflects a slow change in the depositional condition, is known as a gradational. A is the correct option. Next question. When geological formations are equivalent in age but situated wide apart in different districts, countries or continents, they are said to be A. Homotaxis, B. Homotaxial, C. Synchronous beds, D. Contemporaneous. When geological formations are equivalent in age, but these are situated apart in several parts, like countries or continent, then they are said to be homotaxial. So this is a similarity in arrangement, especially similarity in fossil content and in order of the arrangement of the stratified deposits that are necessarily contemporaneous. So B, homotaxial, is the correct answer. Next question. Which one of the following is the oldest known ammonoids during Upper Silurian Devonian period? A. Trilobites, B. Gymmites, C. Agoniatites, and D. Prolecanninites. So the oldest known ammonite during the Silurian to Devonian period is known as Agoniatites. This is a genus of primitive ammonoids belonging to the order Agoniatida family. Agoniatidae, it temporarily range in age from Silurian to Middle Devonian. C is the correct option. Hope you have followed these questions and hope you can explore to geosciences, and thank you for your time. See you in the next video.